Have you ever wondered how much money you should have at your age? Well, today we're going to be comparing net worths by every decade, and this video was partly inspired by this clip.
If I made 400 grand a year, I would be embarrassed. You guys haven't done the math because you cannot live on 400 grand a year.
Okay, but seriously, in this video, we're going to be going over the average, median, and top 1% net worth for every age bracket, how that compares to what's actually being recommended. And before we get started, you have to know how to calculate your own net worth. It's one of those finance terms that seems complicated and a lot of people tend to throw it around, but it's actually super easy to understand. You can calculate your net worth by taking all of your assets, which is everything that you own that has value. Think your house, your car, your investments, your watch collection, and then subtract everything that you owe. These are called your liabilities. This could be your mortgage, your car loan, your student loans, your credit cards, and the number left over is your net worth. Now, if you followed along and did your own calculation and you were left with a negative number, it might not be a math mistake. Early on, most people actually have a negative net worth because initially you're taking out loans for cars, homes, school, but as you work more, you'll be able to grow your assets and turn that number positive. Now, you might be wondering why net worth really even matters, and that's a fair question. The reason net worth plays such a big role is because net worth is basically the scorecard to how well you're doing financially. A lot of people tend to think that income is actually a bigger factor in how well you're doing financially, and that makes a lot of sense because a lot of the richest people have extremely high salaries like professional athletes. There's plenty of people who are high earners, but also high spenders. So on paper, you might say that a doctor earning $200,000 a year is doing financially better than a teacher earning $80,000 a year. But what you might not know is the doctor loves to buy expensive clothes and just bought a sports car with an extremely high payment and has nothing saved and invested, while the teacher has been saving and investing 40% of their income for the past 10 years. And there was actually a study of millionaires done by Ramsey Solutions where they found that the top 5 careers of millionaires were engineers, accountants, management, attorneys, and teachers, with a third of them never making over $100,000 a year. So regardless of your income, you can build your net worth. Now, there's actually one other thing that you need to understand, and that's the difference between average net worth and median net worth. I love the example of if Elon Musk walks into a bar, the average net worth of everybody in the bar is $1 billion, yet nobody in the bar but Elon Musk has $1 billion. And that's because average net worth simply takes into account everybody's net worth and then divides it by the amount of people. That's why it's more important to look at the median, which is closer to the middle point of what everyone actually has. Usually the average is skewed up higher because of those outliers like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, which drags the average up, while the median is a lot closer to the reality of what normal everyday people have. And we'll also be looking at the top 1% because we all know
you cannot live on 400 grand a year.
Okay, let's start with your 20s. According to Empower, the median net worth is $6,609 and the average net worth is a little over $121,000, while the top 1% in their 20s have a net worth of over $325,000. And I know 99% of people don't have a net worth that high, but hopefully now it makes sense why the averages get skewed. In your 20s, it's actually completely normal to have a negative net worth. I know when I was in college, my net worth was definitely negative because I had student loans. From age 18 to 29, the most important things to focus on are to try to get your net worth at least positive, and more importantly, focus on the basics of money. This means tracking your finances, building your credit, and starting to invest. And I know, tracking your finances and creating a budget doesn't seem like fun, but I've been doing it for the past 8 years, and it legitimately only takes me 5 minutes every morning, and I do everything manually in spreadsheets. If you hate spreadsheets or doing things manually, there's plenty of budgeting apps that will do this for you automatically. So all you need to do is check in once a month. Budgeting and keeping track of your money is like weighing yourself every day when you're trying to lose weight. You become conscious of where you're spending your money, and it allows you to cut out certain things that you probably didn't even know you were spending on. Next, building credit is one of the best things you can do at a young age. I built my credit the moment I turned 18, and this helped me buy my first property my senior year of college. The higher your credit score, the better your interest rate will be. And lastly, your 20s are the best decade that you have for compound interest. Every dollar that you invest could become $88 in retirement. And a lot of people will say that in your 20s, you're just starting off, you have a lot of things going on, you don't have much money, you should put off investing until your 30s or 40s. But your 20s are actually the best time to start because you have the most amount of compound interest ahead of you. Investing just $100 from age 20 to age 65 could grow to over $1 million at retirement. The key is just to start. Now let's look at your 30s, where the median net worth is a little over $24,000 and the average net worth is a little over $307,000. The top 1% at age 30 now have a net worth of over $1.3 million, and the top 1% at age 35 have a net worth of over $3.25 million. Now, this is really the point in your career where you've already been working for a few years and you can start to increase your income. The number one thing that could hold you back at this point is bad debt. I personally classify anything as bad debt with over a 6% interest rate because the stock market on average is going to return close to 10%. And as you get higher and higher on the interest rate of that bad debt, it's really not worth investing your money. It's better to just get the guaranteed return of paying off the debt, and then ultimately you can save and invest more money. Now, the one caveat to this is your home. Interest rates have been between 6 and 8% for mortgages recently, which means you could technically classify this as bad debt, but I don't personally. I know there's a ton of people that want to pay off their house, and I completely understand that psychologically that feels great. But for me, it's more about the math and what's going to generate you the highest return. Now, the difference between an 8% interest rate on a car loan and an 8% interest rate on a mortgage is that the car is going down in value as time passes, whereas real estate appreciates. The second key point is that you're able to refinance your mortgage rate if and when rates drop. This is something that you can't really do with credit cards. But if mentally paying off your home is something that's important to you, go for it. Now, according to Fidelity, at age 30, you should have 1 times your salary saved, and by age 35, you should have 2 times your salary saved and invested. Okay, now let's move on to your 40s, where the median net worth is a little over $75,000 and the average net worth is over $743,000, while the top 1% at age 40 has 6.5 million and the top 1% at age 45 has 8.45 million. Your 40s are one of the best decades to build wealth. Hopefully you fixed any mistakes that you made in your 20s, like maybe maxing out a credit card or spending a little bit too much on a car when you probably shouldn't have. And in your 40s, you're in your prime working years. You still have plenty of upward growth, but you also have a lot of experience, which makes you extremely desirable in the workplace. And if your career isn't going the way that you want, entrepreneurship could be the answer. You've likely been working for a number of years and you understand the problems that your industry faces, along with the fact that you have the credibility to solve those problems because of your experience. And most business owners actually start between the ages of 34 to 45. Now, in terms of investments, Fidelity recommends to have 3 times your salary invested at age 40 and 4 times your salary invested at age 45. The key at this point is to really be maximizing all of your tax advantage accounts. This includes your Roth IRA, your HSA, your 401k or 403b, and with most of these accounts, you'll have a traditional version and a Roth version. Roth means you pay taxes today before you invest the money, and when you take it out, all of your gains are tax-free. So with a Roth, you invest after tax dollars. Think money from your paycheck because you've already been taxed on those dollars. Whereas traditional means that you save on taxes today, but you still have to pay taxes when you take it out. Personally, I love Roth accounts because I know that my money is coming out tax-free, and whatever balance I have in the end is the amount that I'll get. I also don't have to worry about what taxes are going to be in the future. Okay, now moving on to your 50s, where the median net worth is $191,857 and the average net worth is over 1.33 million, while the top 1% at age 50 have a net worth of over 9.75 million and at 55 have over $11.7 million. Fidelity recommends to have between 6 to 7 times your salary saved up, and I think at this age you really start to see the difference between the median American and the average American. I think having a multiple of your salary is a great first step, but I actually like the 4% rule even better. Most retirement professionals will talk about the 4% rule. This means that you can safely withdraw 4% of your portfolio and never run out of money over a 30-year period. So for example, let's say you saved up $1 million at retirement. You could take the $1 million, multiply it by 4%, which gives you $40,000. And this is the amount that you can take from your portfolio every year without ever running out of money. And the reason that this works is because the growth of your portfolio will outpace the amount of money that you're taking out. Now, looking back at the median American, at this point, retirement is right around the corner. And yes, $191,000 seems like a lot of money, and it is, But for retirement, it's not a lot. If you only have $191,000, you're nowhere near ready because using the 4% rule, you would only get $636 a month. Now, you'll also have Social Security if it's still around at that point, but the good news is during this decade, even if you're behind, you unlock most catch-up periods. Once you hit 50, you'll be able to make catch-up contributions to your retirement accounts. This will allow you to compound your money even faster, and remember, these accounts are tax advantaged. Okay, let's move on to your 60s, where the median net worth is $290,000 and the average net worth is over $1.5 million, with the top 1% at 60 having a net worth of over $13 million, and at 65, the top 1% having a net worth of over $14.3 million. Your 60s are when most people are looking to retire, and with the median net worth being around $290,000, this gets you close to $968 a month using the 4% rule. And one of the reasons that this group even has a net worth of $290,000 is because of their homes. Their home's value at this point is between $320,000 and $350,000, and they owe $110,000 to $120,000, meaning 60% of their net worth comes from real estate. The biggest factor to why this group has any wealth at all is simply because they bought real estate, time passed, meaning they were able to capture appreciation and pay down their house. And this is why I love real estate. If most people's net worth or wealth comes from owning a home, imagine if they had 2 or 5 or 10, their net worth would skyrocket. And personally, when I look around at the wealthy people in my life, most of them own real estate, and it is one of the biggest contributing factors to why they're even wealthy in the first place. Real estate, even as a primary residence that you live in, allows you to get leveraged appreciation. You maybe only own a small portion of the home, but all of the gains go to you. For example, if you bought a $300,000 house and put $20,000 down and the home went up 20%, the home would now be worth $360,000, meaning you made 60 grand or 300% of your money. Even though the house only went up 20%, you made 300%. That is leveraged appreciation. And if you start to buy properties that you don't live in, the benefits get even better. Not only do you get leveraged appreciation, but you get monthly cash flow from your tenants paying you rent. And because they're paying you rent, you also get debt pay down because your mortgage is being paid by your tenants. Lastly, you get massive tax benefits from being able to depreciate your property even while it's appreciating in price. This is why the wealthy invest in real estate and why I love real estate. And I truly believe that everybody should look into investing for themselves. Now, for ages above 70, all of the net worths start to shrink because at this point, most people aren't working and they're actually spending the money that they've accumulated. When we look back at most Americans, no matter the age, the reality is we aren't as prepared for retirement as we should be. I think a lot of people put off investing in their early years because retirement seems so far away, but they miss the fact that those are the easiest and best years to invest. Life will just continue to get more expensive and complicated. I remember when I was in college, I was mapping out my future and I thought to myself, if I could just make $60,000 a year, I could live off 20 grand and then save and invest the remaining 40 to get financially free the fastest way possible. And at the time, what I didn't realize was you're not going to want to live with roommates forever. I'm not going to be able to drive my 2007 Kia Rio. It's eventually going to break down. And having a girlfriend gets expensive. As I've gotten older, I've realized that life just gets expensive, whether that's from inflation or just wanting new things. You can't assume that you'll always spend the same amount. That's why, again, the most important thing that you can do while you're young is to set up the habit of investing. That way it's ingrained in you and you make the most out of your early years. Another thing that sadly becomes obvious looking at these numbers is for most people, Social Security is a necessity to survive in retirement. The truth is, net worth is extremely important, but not everybody needs to shoot for the exact same number. If you're comfortable spending $30,000 to $40,000 a year, your number is going to look completely different to someone who's spending $300,000 a year and wants to keep up that lifestyle in retirement. Ultimately, the more you earn, the more you need to invest if you want to keep up that same lifestyle. And as time passes, this gets drastically more expensive. If you're 20 and want to retire at 65 with $1 million, you need to invest just $100 a month. If you're 30, you need to invest $265 a month. If you're 40, you need to invest $755 a month. If you're 50, you need to invest $2,420 a month. And if you're 60 and want to retire at 65, you need to invest $12,930 a month to retire with $1 million. The key is to start by mastering the basics of money with budgeting, credit, and investing. Then making sure you pay off all of your high interest debt, and then moving to maxing out all of your retirement accounts every year. And if you have money left over, maybe explore starting that business or invest more into the market or look into investing in real estate. Remember, time is your biggest friend, so start today. And if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Drop me a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.